Hi, and welcome back to Resilience Unravelled. And with me this afternoon, a bright, shiny face with a beautiful hat on, with totally on-brand hat. You Americans do this hat thing so well, don't you? I very rarely see people without hats on the States. Anyway, in front of me, Zach Del Monaco, Italian name, American background by the looks of things. So first of all, hi Zach, how are you?
Amazing. Thank you so much for having me on. It's a pleasure.
Good. I know you're American when you're amazing. So that's great. You got the hat, you got the amazing. We're underway. Whereabouts in the States are you today?
Currently, I'm in Miami, Florida, but I was born and raised in New York.
Beautiful city, New York, one of my favorites. So good they named it twice, I think. Well, great. Well, how come you ended up down in Florida? When did you make that move?
I made it about 3 to 4 months ago. I
Okay.
have been traveling back and forth for about 4 to 5 years with my family just for vacations and many different business events. And whenever I come down to Florida, the weather and the people, the health, just the energy and the vibes, everything, it's just been attracting me down to Florida. And I want to create my new life down here. I see so many different opportunities and people that I'm able to meet. So that's why I came down to Florida. I still have the roots in New York, but gonna be making the transition for myself and hopefully soon in the future, my family as well.
That's interesting because most people talk about the vibe of New York and that the vibe of Florida is mostly the sound of creaking hips with the old age pensioners sort of floating about. But look, tell us a bit about your story because my understanding is that you work with your parents in a family business, or you used to anyway, didn't you?
Yeah, correct. So still do. My father owns a commercial construction company based out of New York. He started that when he was very young. It's almost basically generational coming up in construction. His father was in construction as well. So over the past 3 to 4 years, I've just been working alongside him. I like to think of it as a father-son type of duo as we're taking on the world together. He's absolutely amazing with the operations and the scheduling, all the trades and everything, but I feel I'm more so on the creative side. So I was able to mesh my skills with his skills on the social media content side of the industry, side of the business, basically being able to take what we're doing and show it online and helping people do the same thing for their construction companies as well, which is amazing. However, in the past couple months, I've been working with one of my coaches, absolutely love him, dear friend Tim Story, on developing my story, developing a script, like a hit record, almost like how these singers
Hmm.
have these hit records, developing a story that I'm going to be going on to stages around the world, being able to share my story from childhood, unable to speak in front of anyone, to breaking out of my shell, to feeling like I am hitting success, reaching success in what I thought that was in my life, only to be pulled back by having a spinal surgery and then working each day moving forward from there to where I am now. So he's helping me basically curate that story
Hmm.
and then be able to share that with other people along with taking them into being able to help coach them to establish clarity and direction and health in their lives.
Okay. Well, you give me a lot to unpack there, so that's very good. Where should we start then? Well, I'll tell you what, let me talk a little bit about family businesses, because in
Hmm.
terms of resilience, family businesses are quite interesting concepts, aren't they? How do you manage that ego thing between dad who set the business up as being, a generational thing, and you, the young whippersnapper who obviously look at to me the age of one of those people that knows absolutely everything about everything. And how do you manage that sort of generational thing? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I've asked myself that many times. I've come to the conclusion that I'm still learning each and every single day, but it's more so to me of a balance where I'm able to stay humble and coachable, learning from the 30, 40 years of experience that he has in business, along with relationships, along with operations. So really every side of business and in life I'm able to learn from him, but I'm able to also bring in another side that he might not have had, which is the young hustler energy, right? Of
Mm.
the dad. I see that there's a bigger vision for us that we can go down. There's another avenue. Why don't we look at this perspective over here? What if we do this? And kind of giving him that new outlook, that new energy to continue going, not just alone, but for him to create a legacy. So it's kind of a yin and yang play between him pushing me pushing him, us challenging our ideas and our visions in a positive way, and also having each other as the quote unquote the five people who we surround each other with,
Mm.
that we're able to create a very, very tight knit team between the two of us to go out and to create more. So he's always able to learn more things from me that he never knew, whether it's on the social media side, on the communication side, on the digital side. And I'm able to learn tremendous amounts of communication with people who are at a higher level in business or emotional intelligence with being able to communicate with people and on the finance part. So it's both a yin and yang. And I see a lot of people that always say never go into business with your family. This is something that I've been working on for years. I think that there are examples of people who have done that and have had horrible results. And that's
Yeah.
why they say that. And other people who have done so and have amazing results. But I think it's from what I've learned from my mentors, it's the way how you structure everything, the roles, the
Yeah.
responsibilities, and the energy, the synergies between how both interact.
But I mean, one of the things you mentioned right at the beginning of that sentence was that sort of young hustle thing. And I think it's that playing in your respective camps, isn't it? You're in the new world, you've got all this young hustle, your dad's got tons of experience, and
Yeah,
it's almost staying in your lane, which have it, but having a lane between you where you can sort of meld and mold and such like. It's interesting because in terms of resilience, we often talk about looking forward, scanning the horizon. Everyone's, wanging on about AI at the moment. But I guess AI is not so much of a consideration for a sort of a physical business like yours. Or maybe I'm wrong. But where does that sit in that family business world?
definitely. Even though we're in physical labor and construction, I definitely see it playing a much bigger part than even myself or my father or our team expects right now. Because
Mm.
I have a lot of people that are in that space right now, in the technology and AI space, and I even at times feel like I'm falling behind. What I'm also focusing on is how I can implement that AI, that technology into our actual business
Mhm.
to help develop it further. And for example, what I mean is just the small, simple things as whether it's ChatGPT or Centra AI, being able to have these assistants, they're
Yes.
able to conclude all the information and bring it together. So instead of us having to write all these notes after meeting with a client for a project, there's already a note taker on our laptop, on our computer, taking all those notes.
Yeah.
Same thing for operations. There's also other technology in the field that instead of you going around to each job site personally, spending it 30 minutes to an hour, there's this technology now that you could put on the job site where it takes pictures and then you're actually able to view it on your screen, the whole entire thing, put comments on different places that something might need to be changed, something might need to be looked at, and
Yeah.
even an option where you could basically project a whole entire project, a whole entire job site or house on a floor that you could walk through. So there's all these different types of technologies happening. That's more on the digital side. And then
Yeah.
there's other technologies where instead of you having to go to the job site and having physical labor, pouring concrete or breaking blocks, you could literally be sitting here in front of a screen doing a joystick like a video game, controlling a machine, controlling a payloader or an
Yes.
excavator, or even having a concrete pump that just creates a whole entire residential house without any
Wow.
labor.
Yeah. So that's fascinating. So I thought you were going to go down the route of robotics, but you've actually gone down the remote world of remote control using standardized machinery. So
Hmm.
so that's quite interesting. So that's a quite an interesting marrying together of old and new technologies. And I guess that's the sort of theme of your business, isn't it? Marrying together old and new technologies, but this it's like
Exactly.
the human thing. So that's quite I like that. What's fascinating, of course, from your perspective, it's interesting that you've gone out so young in terms of the social media, building your personal brand, stories, coaching, blah, 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 blah. Because a lot of people want to get into business, really build a credible business base. And I'm thinking of Gary Vaynerchuk, who built that sort of services business and such like. No doubt you're a fan. And that thing about building a business and having that thing which is different to a lot of influencers who've never built a business. What they've done is built an influencing stream because that has no solidity, foundations, or legacy attached to it, whereas the business you're in does. So I'm just
Yeah.
wondering why you've gone so early into having a story, doing the coaching, doing all the online stuff. Is that just part of your generation, or is it something that adds value to the existing business, or is your own gig?
I believe it plays a part in both. I grew up, I believe, in a generation where we're all on social media, which can be a good thing, but it could also be a bad thing. And I've also been realizing that more so lately. But I believe that I got into the social media game because when I was younger, I wasn't able to go on the job sites
Mm,
because of the laws. So I had this deep passion, this deep obsession when I was younger of not wanting to go out with people that were my age, going out to these parties. Instead, all I wanted to do was be with my father and work. And because I couldn't be on the job sites, the best next thing was for me to, hey, dad, send me some videos or some pictures. I want to put it up and I want to create this page. I want to create something that's more than myself that I can show people. And in that way, I started to get into social media. I started to edit videos and create videos at college or even at home by myself. And I sort of fell in love with the story making part of it. And I was lost for a bit of time, for probably 2 or 3 years, just as you're saying, building this personal brand, but in the back of my mind saying, I could be building this personal brand, but what's really behind it?
yeah.
And now is when I've started to been putting the synergies together with the story that I've had at a young age. This actually used to be a huge limiting belief of mine, which is, okay, Zach, you're building out a personal brand, and to be honest with you, I don't even like the word influencer. Um, it's just so overused now by everyone, in my opinion. But a lot of my mentors I've been following continue talking about sharing the story that you have. And my limiting belief was, well, what story can I share if I haven't built a successful business myself? What story can I share if I'm only in my 20s, like compared to everyone else? And I've struggled with this for the past 2 years. And now, as I work with my mentor, Tim, I'm beginning to realize that number one, I'm able to take that. Okay, what actually have you built? I have a construction company that my father created that now I'm able to help grow. Now, it might not be on the physical labor side, but on the social media side, I'm creating these videos with him that we're showcasing what we're doing and how we're doing it. And now I have people that are actually see my dad in person, see us in person, and like, wow, we love what you're doing. We're actually learning from your videos on how we can do the same thing. So it's
Mm.
building that again. I go back to that legacy part on creating that, and I possibly in the future see myself taking a bigger part in that construction arena, whether it's real estate, owning that part, that sector, that division. And the second thing is within the building my brand is being able to share with people the struggles that I've had, the hardships of not being able to talk to people in front of a screen, literally turning red, heartbeat racing, being able to share with them how I was able to manage from not being able to move in a hospital bed to running doing the Murph challenge, which is very, very impressive challenge that you do. It's a physical workout. Being able to share with people that story and help them inspire them and take them through, hey guys, listen, I was completely lost back in the day. I had no idea what I wanted to do. Completely lost. And it sucked. And I did fall into this season of depression. I did fall into this season of critical health. I did fall into this and that and financial struggles. But through it, I was able to come out the other side, and now I'm building stuff with my father. Now I'm building a apparel brand that I don't even consider to be an apparel brand. I consider it to be a movement that help people, and creating these actual solid businesses and showing how it's actually being done. That to me is me sharing the personal brand and how it all ties together. So in the end, number one, creating legacy even at this young age, but number two, showing people how they can do the same thing, inspiring them.
So you've used that phrase two or three times now, legacy.
Yeah.
And legacy is not the thing that is what's left when we're gone. It's the thing that it's the building you build or the library with your name on and such like. But it seems to be a feature of the newer generation that legacy is just your existing story. And maybe there's a sort of timeline thing because life is burned so quickly these days.
Yeah.
You build your legacy because online in 5 years, you're was it, one internet, 1 month is an internet year or something, or 1 week is an
Yeah.
internet year, isn't
Yeah.
it? And maybe that's part of it. So before we go into the health condition, just say a few words on this idea of legacy for old people like myself who think legacy is built by other people once you're gone. I
Yeah.
like the way you're
Yeah.
curating your own.
Yeah. So one of the things that I've noticed with me is whatever I'm building, it always seems to be something that's bigger than myself. And again, legacy, using this world because there's a lot of people who say, take your time. We have all the time in the world, which I do believe that. And there's also the other side that says, we don't know how long we have.
Hmm.
And each night when I go to bed, I say my prayers and I say, forgive me for my sins because I go to bed and I wake up with the same mentality that I don't know if I'm going to be here tomorrow. And whatever I create today, I want it to be extremely impactful that when I do pass away, whatever I've been able to create with my team is able to have a lasting impact to move on to further generations. And that's what I mean by legacy. So
Yes.
I'm always looking of, okay, my father's at his age that he's right now. When my father passes away, he'll pass away, but that last name or that company name will still be around. Then it's going to pass on to me. And then whatever I'm creating, I want to be able to leave it behind for my kids and my grandkids.
Yeah.
And I get inspired by the succession of generations, by the passing down of one thing to another, because I look at these people that the Rockefellers, the Gates, the Cardones, the Steve Jobs, like all these people who have created something massive, to me, they've created a legacy for themselves and for their family to come by. And that is something that really propels me and drives me. And
But they weren't deliberately building a legacy. The legacy was created because of the work they did, not constructing a leg, sort of almost saying this is going to be my legacy, then creating the thing that delivers it almost, which seems to be a different way of thinking about it these days.
correct. Good perspective on that.
Nice
The
bit
two
of
different
brand
types.
positioning there, yeah. You need to say
Exactly.
perspective. Go on. Sorry,
Exactly.
keep going.
No worries. But in conclusion to that, that's my whole idea is just these people inspire me by what they're able to create and what they're able to share. And the fact that when they do pass away, when they're not here anymore, people are still looking back on, oh my God, who they are, how that inspired them and what they truly built. And that is something that, again, inspires me. And I would love to create the same thing for other people when I'm not around.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because the difference between legacy, next generation, traditional legacy, is that everybody looks nostalgically back at that person, doesn't see their faults and such like. Whereas I guess your legacy is full of faults because you're actually sharing that sort of journey, which is interesting. So look, tell us a bit about the spinal thing because you teased me with that more than once now, and so you,
Yeah.
you better tell me what it is because you've got me all excited, all interested.
Yeah, so I had a spinal surgery, scoliosis fusion surgery, about 2.5, 3 years ago, and it was one of the most transformational, peaceful times of my life. When I was growing up, I was very, very short, and I had this one year where I grew several inches, and the speed at which that happened, my back wasn't able to compensate at all. So I developed
Yeah,
a 48% spinal curvature, which,
right. Yeah,
if people don't understand the magnitude of that, it's literally an S curve down your back. So when you take your shirt off, you see a hump. When
mm,
you stand in the gym, you can see that your shoulders are off level. And part of that was that it was crushing my lung, half of my lung. So when I was a very athletic kid back in the day playing soccer and surfing, which I still do today, it was crushing my lung and I wasn't able to play in, really enjoy those sports. So
yeah.
we had two options, which was either you wear a brace or you go in for surgery. And I didn't want to wear a brace at all. So I decided to go in for this spinal surgery where they were going to basically put rods and nails down my back and just correct the spine, make me straight,
Yeah, just
which
force it.
exactly, I'm 6 foot now, which I'm over the
Congrats.
moon about that I hit six
Yeah,
feet tall. with some rods and nails. But anyway, I had this coming up, and I spent about 3 to 6 months in the gym every single day, building muscle, building my mindset around this. Like, I'm going to overcome this quicker than anyone has ever done it in the past. Like, that ego, right? That confidence that I'm going to do it.
Mm.
And I had an 8-hour spinal surgery where I woke up and the nurse asked me, Zach, can you please get up? Can you please move? We need to start your therapy of walking. And it's one of those moments where you go and you go to stand up, you go to sit up, and you realize that you can't. You have no muscle. I had no
Yeah.
muscle in my back. Like, I can't physically cannot move. And then the reality struck that from an athletic kid who could do anything, anything was possible, to basically being reduced back to my beginnings when I was a baby,
Mm.
sitting, crawling, having to relearn how to walk.
Yeah.
And I had a full week in the hospital where I couldn't get up, I couldn't use the bathroom. I had to relearn how to walk. I had pain meds. I had a container by my legs flowing the blood so I wouldn't get blood clots in my
Wow.
back. And I had to start each day of the question, am I even able to get better to my former life? Am I even able to go back, start driving? Am I even able to do a push-up, get back in the gym? And each day moving on, I basically put myself almost as if I was a boxer or an athlete. And what I mean by that is I put myself in training camp.
Yeah.
So I'd go home and I'd have these YouTube videos and I'd have these people, my friends and my family, who I would only talk to. And I'd focus on getting off of the pain meds, getting off of Oxy, which
Good.
was
Yeah.
horrendous. Imagine knives and fire stabbing you all over your body 24/7, sleeping 3 hours a night on a wooden plank that my father brought in. But moving forward each day, saying, okay, one step, one step, one step, one step. Now I'm able to walk. Now I'm able to jog. Now I'm able to
Yeah.
run. Now I'm able to do a push up. Now I'm able to get in the car and start driving. So that journey to me is something that has shaped who I am today because
Yeah.
I went from complete no clarity and no direction in life to not even being able to get up or move to clarity, direction, health, knowing where I'm going with a purpose. And it goes back into coaching and speaking on stages because with perspective, it's to inspire people. And with
Mhm.
coaching, it's to help them realign their lives of people who are around my age as well, of getting that clarity and health in their life as well, which I've been noticing a lot of people that are my age are very lost.
So let's just leap into a couple of things there. So you seem to have used a method to help you get through, which is like a very stoic method, which is literally one day at a time, like
Yeah.
a sports athlete, one game at a time. Don't look at the next game, just look at the game in front of you, all that sort of stuff. And it's an important method, isn't it? You just focus on what's right in front of you. Well done with the Oxy, by the way, because we all know
Thank
that
you.
addictions to Oxy are horrendous things, worse than the pain you went through. But then you come to a really interesting point, which is what you've talked about there is the very embodiment of resilience, which is you crash to the bottom, whatever that pit might be, and you sort of fought your way out, fought or whatever the word might be. But you're right, there's a lot of people who are extremely fragile, broken in a way that they've never experienced anything in the broken. It's the thought of going through what you did, that would break them again. So it's what you said, I think, which is particularly meaningful, is the stoicism thing, but also that family and friends thing. Having that supportive camp around you is important, isn't it? Because sometimes we have to pull in strength from other people as well, don't we? Because we can't always have pools of strength for ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I think that's, you brought up a really good point with that because I've had many people come to me in the last couple of months and asking, which is kind of funny, have you been getting out? Have you been meeting new people? Which I have down here in Florida now that I'm here alone, a couple friends, but I've also been duplicating that same mentality with my life right now, as in, it's nice for me to know, it's nice for others to know a good amount of people, continue meeting people. But for me, I continue to say that it's not the amount of people that I know, but it's the right people and the
Yeah,
quality of people that I know of my circle. And a lot of the mentors and people that I've been talking to continue to say that a lot, that they're not having a lot of people around them. They're having the right circle of people
yeah.
that influence them the right way, that keep their focus on the right things to help move them forward. So I'm happy you brought that up because that's one of the things that I've been doing as I self-reflect more and more often.
Yeah. And there's an important thing which sits in here because you can be full of legacy, drive, purpose, meaning, humbleness, fulfillment. But also you've got to live every single day. You've got to actually get some joy and benefit out of every
Yeah.
single day. Otherwise you spend your life on a treadmill of false hope and expectations. Because what you've learned, I guess, here is you can wake up and lose everything. Which means you can probably survive anything that anyone or any illness throws at you because you've got that perspective now, haven't you? And I think
Mhm.
that's the thing, isn't it? You have people who you said were lost, who have been conditioned into a sort of sense of vulnerability, whether it's by social media, whatever it is. But in a sense, you've been lucky by that experience because you went into it well planned and you came out with a good execution strategy to get you through it. But what about these people who are lost? What's going on with that generation of people who have little resilience? They don't know how to lose. They don't know how to win. They seem to lack accountability and this constant ability to learn and relearn and rethink. What's going on with them?
I think that a lot of these people in this generation, and I'll include myself in this generation, of course, is that we've been, this is funny, we've been sheltered and
Yeah.
comforted in our everyday lives. And it's happened to me as well. I see a lot of people that are, it's just we're soft. There's a good expression, there's a good quote that I love, which is, I believe, tough times make strong people make good times make weak people make bad times, and then it just revolves. And I think
Yeah.
we're in this cycle where my generation and the generation right below me is in this time where everything seems good, everything seems okay. We
Too
we
easy.
have it, it's way too easy. And a lot of us are not looking for that hard, that hit, right? That resilience of that grit to get dropped down. But I think that the prize is in that. I think that not enough people that are my age have experienced that, and you go myself. I speak with people that are my age or a bit younger, and it's no, we don't want that. We're okay where we are, right? We don't want to feel that because it hurts, and that's one of the things that I look up to my parents and my grandparents' generation is they've been through that. They've
Mm.
been through the hard things. They've learned through it, and they've come out on the other side. So I think that more people in this generation that we're talking about need to really experience that, need to move out of their hometown, need to go through that hardship and really feel it because in that process, you're going to learn who you are. You're going to learn
Mm.
what not to do, what to do, and you're going to have to start self reflecting. You're going to have to actually get off of your phone, get off on social media, which is what I see everyone on. Could either be a positive benefit or a negative con. Get off and start doing self-reflection. I love going into nature, doing walks, and really just, again, stoicism, going back into, okay, how did my parents live? How did my grandparents live? They talked with people. They went through it. They were going through the ugly, the nitty, the details. I mean, but that's the story that you have that you could share with other people, and that's how you're built. I went through these multiple different events where I went through this boot camp, which they did that to you. They made you go through military boot camp, holding
Mm.
packets over your head, spraying you down, cold plunge, you're crawling through the mud, they're yelling at you. You're getting literally stripped to nothing. Same thing with relationships with my family and with my friends. Like it's all those hardships that you don't necessarily want to have, but you need to have because it's
Yeah.
the lesson that you're going to learn. And that goes back to your question to conclude the answer is I think people need more of that hardship, more of those experiences to go through to really learn from, and to stop being so comforted and start being,
Yeah.
hey, this is the world. Jump into it. The fact of throw them into the pool, make sure that they don't drown. But listen, life experience, go out and do it as we did. If you need some help, we're here for you to lead you, to guide you as parents, as friends, but you really need to get uncomfortable. That's my whole thing, is always trying to get uncomfortable.
Yeah, I think that's right. And I think it's two things, isn't it? It's a failure of parenting, no doubt about that, because it's often my generation and below that, complain about the current generation, and they'll say things like, "Well, I can't take the PS4, five, I don't know which number we're to now. I can't take their PS, X station off them."
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, well, you're the parent. Take it off them,
Yeah.
because you're right. And I think you made a really brilliant point there. It's not what we want, but sometimes it is what we need. And actually, it's interesting, isn't it? Because again, another subject. I know we didn't plan to talk about these two subjects, but I'm quite interested in the role of younger men in today's society as well, because it seems to be that that challenge is lost in, for masculinity, and it's sort of, you've got this thing about, well, what are men for anymore? And we sort of need those challenges, don't we? We need that way of measuring ourselves against other men. I mean, without being stupid about it, but
Yeah.
you have to take your place in society as a man, whatever that might mean. I mean,
Yeah.
and that's important as well. And part of that is proving yourself to yourself. Part of it is having challenges and a sense of purpose and going out there and being responsible or whatever it might be, and having a career and all those different things you do. And I think we've lost sight of that a little bit. I think we've lost sight of it with modern politics as well, because there's too much
Yeah.
emphasis on strange obsessions which are irrelevant. But
Yeah.
I just wonder whether that message you're giving is a message that gets away from this idea of toxic masculinity and more into what I was going to say real men, but you know what I mean by that. What real men are
Yeah.
about, that where we're going, what's our sense of purpose,
Yeah.
what are we going to leave behind, how are we going to make my mark, how am I going to contribute, how am I going to do things that I need to do, how do I reconnect with nature, how do I get a sense of understanding who I am in a complicated world, and actually how do I take those knocks, and more importantly, you're saying, how do I find the knocks to take in the first place? Because that's the point, isn't it?
Yeah. 100%. I think you brought up another amazing point. I love, Russell, you bringing up amazing points. You're opening my mind as well,
Good, and vice versa.
which is I've been seeing there's been a lot of noise in every aspect of life that you could look at. And it's very hard, I'm gonna say, especially for men to blur out that noise. But I think it's very important because when I talk about noise, I'm talking about all the things on social media, the politics, the economies, this, men should do this, women should do this, you should have this, you should be balanced, don't be balanced. Like it's everyone to me is like an expert, right? They're all putting out this content and it's just flowing to you. But I believe that you got to protect what flows in because what flows in flows out.
Mm.
And I've been on this journey of protecting myself from the noise of, okay, it's amazing everyone's saying this, but what's true to me? Really thinking of, okay, as a man, for me, that means showing up for myself. I gotta take care of myself and my health. I gotta be a man. I gotta be able to, and it's even funny using that term. I gotta be a man, right? Because like
Mm.
be the man. What I feel like that over the past couple decades, it's taken on a complete new term. But for me, it's okay. What am I building? I got to focus on myself. If I'm able to develop myself health wise, mindset wise, be able to build something, I'm able to support myself. Then I'm able to support my family, whether that's my
Yeah.
girlfriend, my wife, my kids, whatever it is. Now I'm able to create something. Now I'm able to protect us, right? Going back into the old ages. But now it's also going into business about being able to be a leader of my own tribe, of my own kingdom,
Mm.
and being able to be an example for other people for my, which I don't have yet, but for my daughter, for my son, for my team, showing them how to achieve success in their own ways, being able to protect people in that way, and then being able to show that onto other people in the next generation behind me. Basically, my father, he's got some crazy stories, which I love hearing of how he almost completely was taken out like in all aspects of his life, the crazy stories he has, but he's able to share that on to me now, and he's able to continue moving forward. And I see on the daily the issues that he deals with, but he doesn't bring it onto the family. He's able to take it, go through it emotionally
Mm.
the correct way, solve the problems, and then move on, and then be there for his family. And now he's able to, hey, Zach, this is exactly what happened. This is a story. This is how I was able to problem solve, and this is how you can as well. And then he's able to share that with me, and I'm able to develop into my own man into that same way. So I feel like as men, we've gotten, especially down here in Miami, all the girls, all the parties and everything. That's amazing. It's nice. I mean, you
Oh,
go into it,
today?
it's part of life, exactly.
Yeah.
But to me, deeper meaning is being able to develop yourself, be able to provide for other people, be able to create something. And I feel like we've got lost with all the noise. So action steps that I've taken that other people can as well is diving into books, diving into podcasts,
Mm.
learning, finding mentors, putting my phone to the side, putting all the lights, cameras, and everything aside, and literally going outside, walking in nature, listening, no music at all, pretending I'm back in Italy or back in the Roman ages of just drinking some wine, eating some food, just relaxing, listening to the birds and going prayer or meditation and having that synergy of everything in life coming to me. And that's where I find my answers is when I shut
Yeah.
off the noise. And anything that I hear, I question. And I question because I feel like a philosopher sometimes where does that make sense to me? Is that actually true to me? Okay, I'm in this problem. Let's do some hypotheticals. Plan A, plan B. What does each one bring? Okay, how am I going to develop into that? I don't know what my next step is going to be, but I'm going to go with plan A. And I know that there's a story behind that. I'm going to develop myself into the man who I need to be, into the person who I need to be, and have those experiences. And when I hit something that really hurts, maybe it's saying, Zach, wake up. You need to go right instead of left. You need to go
Mm.
the other way. Okay, amazing. Let me make that change. And now I have those stories. So next time I won't go down that bad hole. But being able to having to say I'm scared, I'm gonna pull back and I'm gonna go in the corner,
Mm.
not being rude, but in the right way of saying it. As a guy, get up, grab yourself, get some confidence, go
Yeah.
out, say 1, 2, 3, take control of your mind, and do something. Do something. And in the process, it's gonna be hard, but you're gonna shape yourself like you shape metal, and you're gonna create yourself. And you're gonna be able to go on in the future and have confidence from overcoming those struggles and sharing that with people.
Yeah. And confidence is just competence and fear management. They're the two things that make it. So it's very easy to conquer a fear because you just face it and do it. It's exactly say. Sometimes mindless action is what you. It also sounds like you and your dad should have a podcast together because it sounds like your dad's got a lot of wisdom in his bones as well. Yeah, that's really interesting. Listening to you chat away with all this self-driven. You got to, I suppose you've also got to smell the roses as you go. You've also got to have
Yeah.
relationships. You've got to have fun. You've got to listen to music. You've got to dance. You've got to do those things because that's part of the experience as well. Because we are by nature social animals. I like, however, this idea that you put yourself first. Because if you put yourself first, that's how you build great relationships. That's how you operate in a world in a sort of congruent way. Because that makes a lot of sense. That's emotional intelligence, really. I know you want to call out your personal brand, and we should talk about the hat and all that sort of stuff. And I need to be courteous to your time because actually I don't want to just run away with this. So tell us a little bit about the apparel brand because it's perspective with a Z, and it's all sort of groovy stuff, isn't it? So what's the story behind this?
Very interesting story, which I'll dive into that. I think this is going to be very interesting to you and the listeners as well. So I started this company called Perspective with a Z, and I put a Z instead of an S because my name starts with the Z, and at that time I wanted to be part
Oh,
of what I was creating. I started it in college, my first year of college, because I wanted to create something. I was inspired by my father and by everyone else who I saw that was creating something, and I go, I'm gonna create an apparel brand. I think it's cool. And I want to emphasize the word cool because I think I made the biggest mistake when doing it cool. I put in thousands of dollars into this one drop, and it completely failed.
Mm.
$1,000 down the drain. I basically made a hoodie that just said perspective with nothing really behind it. It was, hey guys, you're my friends, you're my family. Please go buy and support me. Yay.
Mm. Mm.
And they did. And that was it. Nothing else behind it. So I took a couple years off of that and just laying low. And then I had this one trip that literally changed it all, which is where I went to Italy to visit my twin sister. She was abroad with some of her friends. And before I went to Italy, first time I ever went to Italy, and I was seeing all these videos, all these movies about going to Italy and drinking this wine and this pasta and just the European life that everyone wants to live.
Mm.
And I was so happy. And I went there and I felt like I was living the life. Like I was on cloud nine, cloud 10, whatever you want to call it. It was just so amazing. And then I realized I have a flight home tomorrow to New York, where it's cold, where people are mean, and where I don't want to go back to my life. So I was looking at flights. I'm like, okay, I'm going to stay another week. I'm going to stay another week. And it didn't work out. So I'm on the way home and I'm crying. And I've never had a panic attack in my life. But I'm on the plane and I'm starting to have a panic attack. And I'm like, I don't want to go back to New York. I
Mm.
I don't like my life. I've been chasing I've been chasing girls. I've been chasing this one girl. I've been chasing money. I've been chasing cars. I've been chasing fame. I've been just chasing everything that the world, that the noise tells me to go for. And I'm so unfulfilled. I don't like my life. And it's unbearable. I can't get out of it. So what do I do? And I just instantly in that moment, I go, don't chase. I need to start attracting. And when I say attract, I mean, I'm going to have to develop myself to a point where the right things come to me and the right people are attracted to me. Not the wrong
Mm.
things, but the right things. I need to develop myself, focus on myself because I haven't been focusing on myself. And I said, I'm going to make this one last drop. Don't chase attract. I'm going to go all in on it. And if I go bust, if it just doesn't work out, at least I know I put everything behind it and it was something that meant the most to me. Not other people, not that was cool, but that meant the most for me that I could put on and take that identity. Created that apparel, and I only created like one or two for me and for my sister and her friend. And everyone started connecting to it. And I told them the backstory. And I started feeling like, okay, there's something here. I don't know what it is, but there's something here. And I kept on wearing it and I felt this power and people are like, oh my God, I love this. This is amazing. Don't chase attract. Like this is what I need in my life. This is the same exact thing. I've been focusing on other people more than I've been focusing on myself. And then I decided, you know what? I'm going to try and do this one step further. I'm going to try and make a massive impact. My goal is to touch 1 million people's lives, is to uplift 1 million people's lives because in that time of surgery, in that time of when I was younger, uplifting reminders helped push me through and taking on the identity of who I would become in the future pushed me through. So I watched the documentary of Ralph Lauren of how he made his boutique, of how he made his store, and it inspired me because the way that he was able to cultivate a story with a community, with almost like you're not in your own life right now. When you put on a clothing, when you put on apparel, you feel like you're someone else that you want to be and you develop into that person.
Yeah.
So now I created delusional optimism because whatever I set my mind to, I'm going to achieve. I created God's armor because I want to be protected. I want to feel like no matter what I do, I'm protected. And that gives me confidence to move forward. And health is wealth because of my spinal surgery. You could have everything you ever want in the world. But if you have a stomach problem, if you have a headache, if you're not well, nothing of that matters. So I created that. And now I'm tying in the story of everything that's happened to me in my life. And the whole point is showing people, hey, listen, you have a story. Russell has a story. I have a story. Bella, John, Joe, everyone has a story that might be different, but it's all tied in to the same way. That we could all correlate, that we could all come together as one and help each other out. And the moment that you're able to put on this apparel, this identity, you're able to take on that. And it's able to bring you out of whatever season of life that you're in, whether that's heartbreak, divorce, illness in health, you're starting your own business, you're starting your own job, you have a break in friendship, something happened, you could put this on and it reminds you that no matter what happens, there's someone else with the same story that has done it before. And if they can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
And I feel when people get this power, get this perspective, it drives you forward and you're able to connect and create a true story and a true community, which, like you just said before, we love talking with people. We love creating connections. We love community. That's who we are. We're human beings,
Yeah.
not human doings, but human beings. Shout out Tim. So that's why I created perspective. And now it's not so much of, oh my God, go look. It's so cool. It's so cool. It's more of, this isn't for me. This is for you guys. And I want you guys to experience the same impact that I've had for myself.
So you're a burgeoning force of nature, I see in front of me now, which is great. Hopefully in 20 years' time, you look back on this podcast and reflect on, the beginnings of where you were in a sense. Because I don't mean beginnings disrespectfully, but, a sense of more
No,
to come.
absolutely.
But Zach's been lovely. So have people want to find you, reach out to you, get in touch with you? I guess they can go to perspectivehouse.com, perspective with Z, as you say,
Mhm.
or a Z, as we say in the in English. Is LinkedIn a place people can find you, or is that too old-fashioned? Or are you an Instagram person?
My main channel that people can reach me on is Instagram. Just my username is at my name, and everything basically stems from there at the moment.
Grand. Well, look, it's been an absolute pleasure to meet you and to hear your story. And we only started chatting, really, and we got all distracted, which is hopefully very interesting for people and for me. So thank you for spending time with us today. I think it's been absolutely great. Thanks, Zach.
Thank you, Russell. Thank you.
You take care.